Hello everyone. Welcome back to Susan Dawn's Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a brand new Sacred Union Energy Update. We have not done this in over a month, and I am so excited to be back. I am not back fully, just to let you guys know. I am still on sabbatical until the end of the year, but we have the 11/11 portal tomorrow, and so I thought I would just do a reading. I also owe you guys a romance reading that will be coming up in the next week or so. I do plan on doing that as well. So it has been busy. There has been a lot that I'm experiencing in my physical life. A lot of that embodiment that we talked about in the Sacred Circle live stream. You can check out the highlights before the video before this one. I've been busy in experiencing everything that I'm embodying, and also having a lot of, like I called it, mystical experiences, integrating those experiences just into a higher level of my own personal journey. It's been very interesting. I will be sharing more as I integrate it over the next couple of weeks and months ahead. I am also busy with regards to completing big projects over the next 2 to 3 months. You will see that beginning to roll out next month into the new year. Workshops, masterclasses, projects, and I'm also working on completing new books. So make sure that you are staying tuned to my newsletter for all of that. I am yet undecided if I'm going to be doing the year ahead readings. If I do, that will be open to those who are part of the newsletter, because those are my biggest readings of the year. I do want to do a tarot fundraiser reading for Toys for Tots, which I do annually. I have done for the past 2 years. So I would like to do that for a third year. So you can also make sure that you are checking out the newsletter, staying tuned to the newsletter and the mailing list for information on that. It will open up to the mailing list first as a little bit of a flash sale, but I'm not quite sure when my schedule will permit that, so that remains to be seen as far as when, but do stay tuned for that as well, because as you guys know, philanthropy and charity is very dear to my heart, and so I would like to do something for Toys for Tots with regards to an intuitive tarot reading, especially since we haven't done a fundraiser for a couple of months yet. So today we are going to be doing a regular Sacred Union update ahead of the 11/11 portal. This will post on the 11/11 portal. Remember, these portal dates are just amplified energy. I say this all the time. It's amplified energy. It is your consciousness, your choice whether or not to move through these portal dates. Any date can be your portal date. Any date at all. Just when you have these significant numbers, when you have full moons, new moons, astrological events, they are amplified collective energy that help to assist us through that choice point, through that energetic gateway. That's all it is. And so when we have this 11/11 turning point, which again, this happens all the time, it's just open gateways, energetic portals, amplified energy to help assist us into making those decisions, into moving forward in some aspect of ourselves, in some aspect of our lives. But nothing is without that inner work. The inner work is going to be the most important part. Now, we also are right smack dab in the middle of Mercury Retrograde. You might have felt that in the shadow period for the past 2 weeks leading up to this Mercury Retrograde. Mercury went retrograde on the 9th. So that was on, when was that? Sunday. This is going to be affecting Sagittarius, Scorpio, Taurus, Leo. Do I have that right? I can't remember. It's going to be affecting certain signs in different ways. It's going to be affecting you in certain ways. But remember, Mercury retrograde is not anything to be feared at all. Retrograde is just an opportunity for you to reflect, revisit, revise, all those re's, as I always say, all those re's. So take this time, especially Mercury. Mercury is all about communication. So consider, how are you communicating? How can you shift those patterns? How can you shift those beliefs around communication within yourself? For example, if you say, oh, I'm a terrible communicator, that's a belief that you hold that stems from somewhere. Maybe somewhere along the way, someone said that to you and you formed it as a belief. And now that is how you embrace communication. Oh, I'm a terrible communicator. Oh, I can't communicate with my partner. So revisit that. redefine yourself. This is an opportunity for you to reflect and redefine yourself. There is nothing that happens in your physical world that isn't experienced within. How are you identifying with your physical world? How are you identifying with the experiences, with the relationships, with the circumstances, with the situations that you're experiencing? Everything stems from something within you that wants to be seen, and Mercury retrograde is going to bring it up to the surface to be seen. Now, if you're in resistance, which is another re-energy, right? If you're in resistance, it's going to be more struggle, more strife, more challenges, more obstacles. But those, again, are just beliefs that you hold. Oh, this is hard. Oh, this is a challenge. Oh, this is a struggle. This is something that's difficult. This person is difficult. The situation is difficult. This money, career, job is difficult. Those are all beliefs that you had or have. This is within your mindset, your ability to shift that. What if you begin looking at it from a different perspective, from a different energetic perspective? What happens is our ego takes over and it plays on a loop. It plays a repeating pattern as an attempt to protect you because it's survival mode, it's defense mechanism. It's saying, if I believe this thing about myself, about the situation, about this other person, whatever the situation, if I believe this thing, then that means I'm prepared for it. That means I'm protected. I'm not going to be thrown off guard. I'm not going to be thrown to the wolves. I'm going to be safe within my body, within my nervous system. But your job on this ascension journey is to keep looking deep within, deeper and deeper and deeper. Your ascension journey is not a transcendence, so to speak. You transcend by descending. You ascend by descending. It's an inner spiral. We've been talking about this for years and years and years since I've been on my channel here. And I talk about this in my book, The Unity Code, as well. Deeper and deeper and deeper within you, deeper and deeper and deeper, an inner spiral deep into the core of your being so that you remember who you truly are. You are not the beliefs. You are not the patterns. You are not what anybody says you are. You are who you decide to be and what you identify with. It is your belief system that shifts everything, that changes your life, and that's all manifestation is. Manifestation is not something outside of yourself. Manifestation is creation from within. You are creating with the universe, God's source, not being separate from you. You are creating with the universe, and that includes your sacred union. And that's why we've been saying that your union is within you and always has been. And that is what you're remembering, that you're not separate from your counterpart. You're not separate from your twin flame, sacred partner. You're not separate from your union. Your union is not a goal to attain or achieve. It's not something outside of yourself. It is not a relationship. The relationship that you have with your counterpart, sacred partner, twin flame, whatever label you want to use, that relationship is an expression of the beliefs and identity that you hold within. So many of us have felt from the beginning of our lifetime journeys, from our childhoods, we have felt sacred partnership as part of us, within us. I always felt like I was meant for big love, and not big as in grand declarations and dates and stuff. That is a turnoff for me. Big love as in devotion, big love as in sacred love, big love as in union, though I didn't have the word for it then. I didn't have the word for that until my ascension journey. Big love as in something that is true, something that is unconditional, something that is sacred. I've always felt that. Many of us have. And so I've had meditations, I've had dreams about this energy. And when I met my twin flame, that was all activated to a higher level, a higher aspect, remembering within myself that that union has always existed within, that it's not something to chase or find or seek in another person. It is always something within yourself first, and then it expresses itself in another person. But it's been with you your whole life because it is you. Your union is you. You are and always have been in union. And the more that you connect with that, without worrying about what the physical 3D world is evidentiary showing you, because that's just old data. It's data that you've already created. It's situations, experiences that you've already created. So bring yourself back to the present moment. What are you believing in the present moment? What are you identifying within the present moment? What is the love that you're experiencing in the present moment? And who are you being in this present moment? If you are saying the union, then you are right in alignment, right on your path. If you're saying, I am identifying with this person or that person, that's where the inner work is. That's where the inner work always begins. If you're still seeking outside of yourself or seeing something outside of yourself as separate, then that's where that inner work is. Because there's still something about that situation that you're identifying separation with, or you're creating within that separation, or that you are identifying within yourself that needs to be reconciled. And again, that's all Mercury retrograde energy. So 1111 portal is just an energetic shift date. It is an open doorway and gateway of amplified energy that is going to help you assist in moving towards who you want to be, the life you want to create, because that's what it is all about. Life is meant to be peaceful. Life is meant to be joyful. That's not to say we don't have experiences of sadness, of grief, of loss. We don't have experiences of fear or challenges. Of course we do. We're human, and we're not meant to bypass that human experience. But can you hold that energy? Can you hold that energy, alchemize that energy, transform that within yourself? Can you see that as the observer? Can you feel the full force of all of your emotions and not attach to it as a story, as a new belief? Can you say, I'm feeling grief in this moment, and I know I'll get past it, but right now I'm just going to embrace this grief that I'm feeling, knowing that it's not who I am, knowing that it's just a season of my life, a day, a week, maybe even a month, however long it takes you to move through it. It's not who you are. It's an emotion. It's a feeling that you are moving through. Emotion, feelings, they are energetic currents, energy that needs to be released. So even anger, fear, lack, those are all emotions of energy, past energy held within your body that needs to be released. And so it has to be felt in order to be moved through. So don't bypass anything that you're experiencing. You are exactly where you need to be on your journey. Don't rush your journey. Don't try to get ahead of your journey, and don't berate yourself for where you are on your journey. It is absolutely perfect for you. And you are loved, you are supported, and you are held by so many within this community, and myself, and with God's source, your soul family, your spirit team. You are held by legions of loving energy, loving spirits, God's source itself within your journey where you are. So I hope you feel that. I hope that that is resonating with you wherever it is that you are on your journey. Like I said, it's been a while here, so everybody's going to be at a little bit of a different point. We are kind of picking up on where we left off because all of our readings kind of build upon each other within this collective. So wherever it is that you are, I have timeless readings on the playlist. They are now housed in a podcast. You can watch it or listen to it, on YouTube music as well as a podcast. And they're all housed in a playlist. So anytime you want to go back to one and revisit one, or any one that calls to you, there might be layers of resonance for you in those timeless readings of those past readings that we've done here on the channel as well. Okay, let's see what's going on for this connection. Remember, this is for your inner masculine and feminine, because that is the union that you hold within that then expresses itself in your physical relationship with a partner, sacred partner, twin flame, but also with all of your human experience. The more that you balance out your inner masculine and your inner feminine, that is the neutral point, the 0 point, that is the peace. That is your ascension journey, your what I call higher heart ascension. That is the harmony within when you balance out those polarities, and that expresses itself then in your relationship, not just in your romantic partnerships, but also with your counterpart, twin flame, sacred partner, with your friendships, your family members, with your body, with your money, your job, your career, everything. Because everything in our physical lives is an expression of self, is in some way an expression of our lives, of how we identify with the world, our belief systems, etc. So take these messages for your inner masculine and inner feminine. Take it for what you are experiencing in physical connection with your sacred partner, twin flame, or counterpart. Again, the label doesn't matter, whatever label you prefer. Or take it for what's happening within the global collective as well. And we've talked about that in previous sacred channelings here on the channel, where we go deep into what sacred union actually means. I'd go deep into that again in my book, The Unity Code, and you can also check out our highlights or join the Sacred Circle community for more on that. So the global collective, because what we're experiencing within is also experienced on a greater collective level. All right, let's see what's going on for the masculine, the feminine, and the union energies here. What's going on for the masculine, the feminine, and the union energies? It is like riding a bike. It is like when I say that it has been a while since I've done this, I haven't even pulled cards for myself. I have just been, quite frankly, living. And so to be back in this little corner, I have a new kind of office space too, where I've been doing my admin work, my projects, my writing. So to be back in my little sanctuary, my little corner, it's like riding a bike. It's very beautiful. All right, let's see what's going on for the masculine. What's going on for the divine masculine at this time? Sacred breath and sound, life force and communication. There's that Mercury retrograde energy with that communication. That's beautiful. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, because I'm getting a lot for that already. Let's see what's going on for the divine feminine, please. What's going on for the divine feminine? Open heart, deep connections, water blessings. I'm getting pointed. I was immediately pointed to the divine masculine's 10 number here. And now here we have the 11. So this is very interesting. We'll talk about that soon. And the union energies. What's going on for the union energies between the two? What's going on for the union energies between the two? Guide, the illuminated path, and we have the number 21. 21 is an interesting number because it points from the 2 to the 1. This is not about enmeshment. This is about union, two becoming one. It's not about codependency. It's not about enmeshment. It's not about becoming lost in the other. It's about recognizing yourself as fully whole and recognizing the same in your partner, and you two coming together in that union, in that interdependence. That's what union is, two becoming one. You also have the 3, 2 and 1 is 3, and that is a trinity energy, and that truly is what your union is. Your union is a trinity. It's the divine masculine, the divine feminine, and God source energy. The very beginning of reading, almost 8 years ago now, I channeled the 3 of Pentacles as a triangle, as a trinity energy. At the apex was God's source. And then you had divine masculine and divine feminine on either of the other 2 corners. And what they said was that the lines of the triangle, that was the connected. You're always connected. Then, the further along I got in my understanding and we began to channel, we heard that it wasn't necessarily that was a great foundation for the teaching of union and unity consciousness, but it wasn't the full picture, because the triangle still made some separation between the 3 points. And so what they showed me was this: stacking cards one on top of each other, so that it felt like there was no separation. But then they said, well, this is still separation because you have space. Even in minuscule amounts, you still have space between these cards, even though they should be blended in a pile, even though they should be like merged here as a metaphor. Well, then they showed me the 3 of Cups as my new metaphor for union. And what they showed me was 2 cups, the divine masculine, the divine feminine, the 2 of Cups, pouring into the 3rd, represented by the Ace of Cups. And what that is that Ace of Cups is God's source. It is the beginning of love, the beginning of unconditional love, that higher consciousness energy, self-love as well, but it all stems from God's source. Then you have the divine masculine energy, the divine feminine energy as the 2 of Cups, pouring into that Ace of Cups, God's source energy, merging. So that when you have, for example, water and water in a pitcher of water, when you pour it all in together, you don't know where one ends and where one begins. Again, it's not enmeshment. It's not codependency. You don't get lost in the other. You don't get lost in God's source. It is truly just the oneness. And in my book, The Unity Code, we also give an example of one of my favorite TV shows called The Good Place. And I'm not going to spoil it, but at the end of The Good Place, it is a return to that oneness. make sure you check out that show. It is truly, truly brilliant. And it has that kind of funny humor, but a lot of spiritual truths in it as well, mixed in with philosophy, which is why I love it so much. But I talk about that in my book, The Unity Code, if you want a little bit of a spoiler as well. Okay, so that is this union energy. I was also called to the bottom of the deck where we have idyllic times, the garden, paradise. And again, in our past Sacred Union energy updates, if you're new here, in our past sacred channelings, those deep dives, we talked about unity consciousness and the Garden of Eden. There is one specific channeling that I'm thinking of, out of the garden, where we channeled that the stepping out of the garden from the fall of Eden, so to speak, that garden was the kingdom within. And so as we stepped out of the garden, that was our quote unquote fall, but it was the fallen consciousness, the collective fallen consciousness, which is simply the separation, the forgetting that you are one with God and one with all. And so as we come into union with ourselves, with our sacred partner, and with all, we are remembering the garden. We are remembering the kingdom within. So this too is part of that unity consciousness. This part is too part of our union purpose, our union mission, our union template. And again, I talk about that in the Unity Code. That is what it's all about. It is about rewriting not only the twin flame template, but rewriting what unity consciousness truly is, understanding what unity consciousness truly is, both within sacred partnership and from that greater collective landscape. So, okay, let's take this one by one. I feel like the divine masculine and the divine feminine are very closely mirroring each other. Again, you have the 10 and you have the 11. So here with the divine masculine, I feel like they are closing out cycles and connecting deeper and deeper and deeper to their truth, deeper to their sacred self. I don't have another word for it. Deeper to, I want to say their power, but there's a very distinct difference between egoic power and true power, soul power. And I feel like this masculine is beginning to recognize the difference, that there is an egoic power, which is spiritual ego, which is linked up in old energies of resentment, their own victimhood, fears, lack, scarcity, and especially control. And that all creates a sense of resistance in their life, which in turn creates struggle. True power, which I believe this masculine is rising into, is recognizing the self, recognizing the sacred self. And so that's where they will stand up. They will stand up for themselves. They will be more authoritative, not over people, because that's that false egoic control, right? It's not authority over people. It's recognizing the authority within oneself. It's recognizing one's autonomy, recognizing one's sovereignty. I can't control my environment. I can't control what X, Y, and Z does. I can't control what my manager does. I can't control what my friend does, what my family does. But I can control my reactions. I can control my responses. I can control how I feel. And I feel like this masculine doesn't want to feel how they've felt in the past, and for some it might even been their whole lives, where they might have felt helpless, where they might have felt powerless. And that's where I'm getting like an arc here. That's where they might have gone to the other extreme and tried to control others, and in turn had others doubling down and trying to control them. So it's like an arc, but that arc is closing. That cycle is closing because they're beginning to recognize that they can only control that within themselves. They control through their mind, through their thought processes, through their beliefs, through their sense of identity. Who am I? Who do I want to be? Who do I want to be, and what is contributing to that? That's where they're in control of themselves. Divine Feminine, you've been through this as well, where you decided, anything that is toxic, anything that is hurting me, anything in which I'm abandoning myself, or where I am seeing that I'm not honoring myself, especially people pleasing is what I'm getting for you, Divine Feminines. People pleasing was a huge thing for you. So any relationship or job or situation in which you found yourself abandoning or dishonoring yourself in order to sacrifice yourself to keep the peace, for example, to take care of others, to whatever it was, for whatever the situation was, that's where you said no longer. And that's where many of you, even in connection with your counterpart, might have had to walk away or disengage, saying, this isn't honoring of me. This isn't respecting of me. So I'm going to not engage. And so that's you, again, having that security within your inner masculine, that container to hold your emotions, the full force of your expression, and say, you know what, this doesn't make me feel safe. This doesn't make me feel secure. I'm not able to express the full freedom of who I am. And so I'm not going to engage in this situation, circumstance, relationship, whatever it was. So that is your inner union, where you are determining what is worth your peace, is what I'm hearing. What is worth your peace? So I feel like the masculine is beginning to understand that and embody that. Embrace and embody are two words that I'm getting. Embrace and embody. I'm also getting this sense of maturity, which is interesting because it's coming in with a dolphin here. If you see this card, there's a dolphin there. So lots of Syrian energy, lots of water energy. We are in Scorpio season. And so if you're connecting with the water elements, is prime for that, especially Mercury retrograde, all about communication. In Scorpio season, there might be some emotional communication, emotional expression, which for the divine masculine might be very uncomfortable. But again, that is where they are learning to be different. Who do you want to be? Do you want to have those intimate, vulnerable connections with people that you trust, people that you love, people that you want to connect with? And so first, it's about connecting deep within yourself, deep within your heart. What is it that you want? Identifying for yourself, what is it that you want? What is it that's in your heart? What is your true desire from this situation? What is the outcome that you want from the situation? And then turning within to say, what is preventing this? What is within myself that I'm still identifying with the old version of the situation, the circumstance, this relationship, this person? So really determining what it is that they want. So there's a couple of different messages that's coming in for the masculine here. It is this water energy about deep emotions and also this maturity energy that's coming through. So it feels like emotional maturity, where there might have been some emotional unavailability in the past, where deep connection or intimacy or vulnerability, because of that self-expression, might have been from in the past, upbringing, etc., might have been frowned upon or punished, or might have been there might have been some neglect or rejection there that created some wounding and some false beliefs there, and thus the ego spins and says, oh, this is going to happen every time. Now it's about opening up. Now it's about trust, building that trust within and without. And the more that you change within yourself, the more that you see things differently, the more everything in your outside reality changes. So there's this sense of emotional maturity that's coming through. And again, it feels like it's coming with that dolphin energy, with the Syrian energy, with this water energy, the water elements. Another message I'm getting is you might be connecting to the water elements very literally. So this could be taking more baths, this could be showers, running your hands in the water, or simply being reflective around water. What I'm actually getting is a specific message about whisper your desires to the water. This is a mirrored energy with the divine feminine, because I feel like that's a message for the divine feminine, but with the earth. Again, connecting to Mother Gaia, the feminine energy with the earth. I had an experience that I shared in the live stream where last week I was feeling just a little bit untethered. And so I was guided to go outside and speak to a tree that I've been speaking to for the past couple of years. And I swear, I can feel and even see physical changes in this tree since I've been speaking to it. It's the wildest thing. And so I was guided just to put my arms around the tree and hold it and hug it. And then as I was doing that, I heard, speak your desires to me. What is it that you want? And it was a very loving energy. And as I felt my cheek against the bark, I just did that. I just spoke what was in my heart. I spoke what it is that I wanted. What I wanted for my life, which was to make great change in the world and help people and support people. And then I spoke some secret desires as well. And what I saw in my mind's eye then, as I was still connecting with this tree, was all this energy running from my voice, because your voice is a frequency. It carries codes. From my voice down into the tree, into the roots, and all along this neural network of my Mother Gaia. Well, the same thing for the water is what I'm getting now for the divine masculine. Speak your desires to the water, whether that's an ocean that you connect to, or a pond, or they're saying it should be running water. So, an ocean, or a creek, or a river, or even running water like the tap, running water, or like a shower, running water, water that is running, so that it can flow into the earth and connect to the earth. So speak your desires, speak your heart. You don't have to share with anybody but yourself and with Mother Gaia, with the universe. And oh, that's what they're pointing me to now. Sacred breath and sound. That's your voice, your breath, your exhale carries frequency, carries energy. So not only your words carry power, carry energy, but your breath as well. And that's the great Om. And we had a sacred channeling called the Sacred Breath. I'm going to put all these links in the description box just in case you missed it. These are great sacred channelings to revisit too, especially since it's been a while. So the other message that I'm getting is connected to all of this with the sacred breath and sound. Not only is it the Om energy, which is that sacred breath, it is that life force energy, right? Is your connection to God's source, that Om. Because Om is not necessarily a word, it is a it is a sound. It is when you relax your body, relax your breath, and just breathe out in that peace, in that sacredness of who you are. So there's another message that's coming through, and I forget what it is. Okay, I can't remember what it is, so we're going to move on from that. But this is connecting to yourself, connect to your heart. What is it that you want? What is it that you desire truly? Don't be afraid of your desires. Don't be afraid of your wants. The universe is listening. And this is you as an empowered creator. And I believe that the masculine, I feel like the masculine is beginning to embody this, recognize this as their power. Again, not power as in control or that corrupt kind of power, but power as in my own sacredness, recognizing my sacredness. Now, not to get too far on the other extreme, which is spiritual ego, which is I am powerful above all. Nobody, people are below me. That's spiritual ego. This is connecting to the oneness. This is connecting to the balance within. This is connecting to the harmony of all things. So there can be two extremes, and sometimes we'll move from one extreme to the other before we come into balance within ourselves, before we come into our inner union. So you might have that lack, that worth, which the masculine has battled with for most of their lives, which we have been channeling over the duration of our channel here. So it's a lack mentality, lack of worth, lack of belief in oneself, lack of or scarcity mindset. So it's all that feeling unworthy. Well, then as they come into their recognition of themselves and again that power, that sacred power, they can go to the other extreme of spiritual ego and say, I am more powerful than you. I am more this than you. I am more ascended than you. I am more whatever than you. But that's spiritual ego. Everybody's on their path and is meant to be where they are on their path. And oneness, true oneness, is recognizing the soul in all and recognizing that everybody is playing their part for us and also on their journey for themselves at the same time. It's not a black and white thinking anymore. It is the middle path. The middle path is never left or right, right or wrong, black or white. The middle path is truly just the middle way, the balance, the neutral space. And so two things can coexist. That's what we understand on our sacred union journey. As we move into deeper and deeper levels of our ascension, two truths can coexist. This can be true and this can be true at the same time. I can be in my embodied power and recognize myself as sacred and recognize that this person is sacred too, and recognize that I'm having this experience to reflect more of me, and recognize that this person is where they are in their journey, but they are sacred too. This is namaste. It is the divinity within me sees the divinity within you. Again, it all comes from our perception. When you look through the lens of love, everything becomes love. It is your perception and your belief. I feel as if this masculine is connecting deeper and deeper to themselves, deeper and deeper to their understanding of themselves. Let's move over here to the divine feminine. Interesting too, you have the water element, but for the divine feminine, you see how she is very grounded on the sand, not in the water. I feel like, again, this is connecting to Mother Gaia herself, the earth herself, not necessarily the water element, but the earth element. And that is providing that grounding. And I feel like the divine feminine is holding that space. Here you have the 11 number again. It's the one and the one coming together. 11 is also a master number, is what they're saying. So, a reminder for you to hold that space and hold that light along your journey, hold that peace within yourself along this journey. And again, it depends on where you are along your journey. Keep doing that inner work, keep looking within, keep looking at what your physical circumstances are showing you to keep connecting deeper and deeper and deeper to yourself, to that oneness with God's source and all of creation. Here you have deeper connections. Again, water blessing. So that is connecting to the divine masculine too. Again, you're mirroring each other, but that opening heart. And there's a lot of energy that is emanating from her. Divine feminine, I feel like you are magnetic. I feel like you are calling in more soul family, deeper intimate connections with people who already are your soul family. So I feel like you're also deepening your connection to yourself and to God's source. Now, this can be happening in a couple of different ways. You can be deepening your connection to your own spiritual studies. This is the books that you read, the podcasts you listen to. And I want to say this, it's what you're guided to, not what necessarily somebody recommends, although you might get a recommendation that is speaking to you. This is you connecting deeply to your own intuition. What is resonating with you? A certain TV show resonates with you and it reveals some kind of clarity or some kind of spiritual truth to you, or a piece of music connects with your soul, or a podcast fills in a missing piece, or a book somehow resonates and confirms everything that you've already known within your own soul truth. So this is about resonance and you're guided to it. It's not about forcing anything. It's about trusting yourself, trusting where you're being guided, trusting the timing of things. You're very grounded in yourself, divine feminine. You're very centered, you're very balanced, and you're just emanating this beautiful light. And you are believing in yourself, not with ego, but with a true belief, a true recognition of your own sacredness, a true recognition of the divinity within. And divine feminines, you have a little bit of a different journey than the divine masculines. On the surface, it might look the same. What's interesting is, you guys can't see it, I have a sea salt lamp over beyond my cards here, and it's off. I don't turn it on anymore, but the design on the holder, the sea salt lamp holder, is the masculine and the feminine symbols, and it's what I have in my logo as well. It is the upside down triangle interspersed with the right side up triangle. This is that union energy. It's the balance of the polarities, the balance of the masculine and feminine within. And divine feminine, that is where you have been. So going back to my previous message, you and your counterpart, your twin flame, your sacred partner, you will experience very similar things, very similar wounds, very similar life experiences, lifestyles, etc. But it will be from opposite ends of the spectrum. In my book, The Unity Code, I talk about this as symbolic of being on the same track in college. Say, for example, a literature track, since I was a literature major. Say it's a literature track, but it wouldn't do you no good if you were both taking American literature with the same courses and the same teachers. What would you learn? What would you experience, right? So say one is American literature, one is British literature, and then you come together and like, look what I learned, look what I learned, and you share those codes because you have one energy field with your sacred partner, with your twin flame, I should say. Sacred partner might be a little bit different. Sacred partner might be more of a soulmate, whatever label you choose. But with twin flames specifically, you have one energy field, and so you're sharing those codes. That's when you come together, you share those codes. And so if you are not in harmony with oneself, if you're not in union with oneself, that reunion where you're sharing those codes cannot be sustained, and that's where you have more of that physical separation. But don't look at physical separation as a lack. You are and always have been in union. And those periods of reunion and separation will be less and less and less and less and less as you come together into that physical union. whatever it is that you desire, whatever it is that you too want to create for the expression of your union. That's going to be up to your personal experience, up to your personal journey. Everybody's journey, there's one blueprint. I should say it like this: there is a collective blueprint, but everybody's individual path is going to look different with their sacred partner or twin flame. So going back to this message, your experience is going to look very similar. Your wounding is going to look very similar to the divine masculine, but there's going to be some nuance there. So divine feminine, you might not have fully believed in yourself. You might not have believed that you were worthy either, but from a different angle, from a different standpoint. You might not have believed that you were special, especially because that is a wounding within the patriarchy, where the feminine energy has been persecuted, prosecuted, and suppressed. The full expression of herself. She's never felt fully safe to be seen. She's never felt fully safe to fully express herself. And so when you are in this life, for example, just experiencing life, you might not feel safe to communicate your needs, your wants, your desires. And so you might, again, people please, hold yourself back, make yourself smaller. So I experienced all of that myself as a personal anecdote, where I didn't believe that I was special. Not special as in the chosen one. I hate that narrative. That narrative, it has its purpose in recognizing the divinity within yourself and your personal power. But there's such, it's almost like repulsive because it's dripping in spiritual ego. And so the more you will go through your spiritual journey, you'll realize that it's just creating more separation. So for myself, it was like recognizing that I am special. I am special. I am special in the eyes of myself. I am special in the eyes of the people who love me. And it's not special as in above someone else. It's not special as in superior to anybody else. It's just recognizing, hey, I'm special too. I'm special also. I'm worthy also. I'm loved also, especially in the eyes of God's source, especially in the eyes of God's source. So this is recognizing yourself, embracing yourself. And the more that you anchor into that, the more your heart opens and your light is just able to shine. So again, it's mirroring the divine masculine, but again, it's because you have both energies within you too. This is your inner union. This is coming from both experiences, and then it will express itself within the physical partnership. When you meet your twin flame, you're meeting yourself in another embodiment, in another person. And that's why it can be so challenging and so hard. And that's why it could also be so illuminating and beautiful and loving. And in those moments of peace, in those moments of harmony, you feel that unconditional love, because that is who you truly are to each other. And that is who you've always been to each other. It's just clearing out all the ego, clearing out all the wound and the distortions, clearing out all the old past experiences that say it is anything but. It's about coming back to the truth within your own heart and connecting with that regardless of what the physical experience is showing you or saying or what anybody else is trying to tell you. It is about you trusting in yourself and your own knowing and what resonates with your truth. So Divine Feminine, keeping that open heart is one of the most important parts of your spiritual journey too. All right, let's see how you guys are connecting to each other. This is going to be a longer reading because it's been a while. How are you guys connecting to each other? How is the divine masculine connecting to the feminine? How's the divine masculine connecting to the feminine? We have the Judgment card. Judgment is my second chance card. It's not judgment as in I'm judging. It is judgment as in, well, I'm also getting this energy of they might be judging themselves a little bit. There might be a little bit of judgment of themselves underneath the surface. And I'm almost getting like they don't want to acknowledge it. I'm getting that it might be a little bit too painful to acknowledge it. Judging how they treated themselves and how they treated maybe even you in the past. So I feel like there might be a little bit of that actual judgment there, but it's judgment of themselves. It's recognizing themselves, and that's something that they are coming to terms with. But judgment for me is second chance. It's my second chance card. So I feel like this connection for many is coming back around. This could also be, again, it's Mercury Retrograde, so it's coming back around. Cycles closing, old past energies closing, so that you can begin a new cycle, so that you can be in that higher ascension, move on from the past, move on from the old, and break those patterns and move into new cycles, new higher cycles, what I call the higher heart ascension. So, second chance card, new beginnings in that essence. It's not quite new beginnings as in like the Ace of Cups, Ace of Wands, Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Swords. It is second chance. I don't know how else to say this. It's like a rebirth energy. This Judgment card feels like almost like a rebirth within the connection. So I do feel like the Divine Masculine is either wanting or sensing this rebirth within the connection. I'm gonna pause here and just kind of split the messages between those who are in communication and those who aren't. For those who are not in communication, this could be a desire that is held by the Divine Masculine, wanting this second chance. Seeing, again, this is where they're judging themselves, seeing where they had kind of erred, seeing where they have been an ego or distortion or pain. They might not use those words. Seeing where they might have been, I'm hearing the word subterfuge, which is very self-sabotage. I don't know why they're giving me this big word, subterfuge, but it's self-sabotage, where they might have been sabotaging their own happiness for the sake of the past. This could be for the sake of keeping peace with the past relationship, for the sake of comfort, for the sake of whatever it is, whatever your specific situation is, because that's what they knew, because that's what they thought they wanted. Whatever that situation was, they were sabotaging themselves and thus sabotaging this connection, because that was their ego, because that was their wounding, that was their pain. And so I feel like they might be judging themselves a little on even a subconscious level. They might not be fully aware of this or conscious of this, but I feel like they might be subtly judging themselves for the past, how they treated you in the past, how they treated themselves in the past, etc. But that's all healing energy. You cannot heal it unless you realize it, unless you reveal it. It has to come to the surface. It has to come to the awareness. And that's where the mirror can be painful. It can be truly painful to look at yourself and hold yourself accountable for your choices, for your actions, but that's where the healing energy happens. Divine Feminines, that has been your whole journey. You have been doing nothing but looking at yourself and saying, okay, energetically, where have I been believing this? Where have I been holding on to this wound? That's what a block is. A block is a distortion, a wound, resistance within the self. And you have to look within yourself in order to change your world. That has been your whole journey, Divine Feminine. I feel like the Masculine is beginning to understand that and look at themselves in that new light. This is not about punishment. This is not about attack. This is not about being on the defense. This is about truly looking within the heart, truly looking within the soul and saying, again, what am I still identifying with? What's that old version of me? And who do I want to be? How can I shift? How can I change? And you can only do that when you are truly able to look at yourself. So that's for those who are in non-communication. For those who are in communication, you might be actually seeing new patterns pop up, new experiences pop up. I feel like for those in communication, this Masculine is trying very hard to change their patterns with you, Divine Feminine, especially as you're reconciling, having conversations. And I feel like Divine Feminine, that might be where some wounding for you might be coming up. I've been experiencing this myself. I've been in communication with my counterpart fairly consistently over the past 3 months, and there'll be times when we are having a conversation and I'm wanting to express myself fully and deeply, vulnerably, and I'm afraid almost of, okay, how is he going to respond? Is he going to respond as he did in the past? But I will go within. It's not for him to heal. It's not for him to shift. It's for me, because that's a fear within myself. And so I'll go within and I'll say, okay, what's actually showing up for me? What is this fear actually showing? And so what I'll do is I will alchemize that, transmute that within myself, shift the pattern within myself, and thus shift the pattern in my experience in communication. And what I'm finding is that he is just responding beautifully, that the past isn't alive or active anymore because I'm shifting that within myself. And also, every it's kind of humorous to me. In those communications, like I will kind of say to myself, I'm different and he's different, and allow ourselves to be different. Thus, allow our communication to be different, allow our connection to be different. And so, what's humorous to me is I will kind of curse myself out and say, you know what? And almost curse him out and say, you know what, if you respond like this, if you lash out or if you project onto me, you're going to get a different side of me. That's not acceptable. Or I just won't engage. Like I'm changing my behaviors. I'm changing within myself. And that's how something new is reflecting to me. And also continuing to remind myself that he's growing, he's changing, he's shifting, and so have I. And so thus giving room and space for the connection to shift, for the connection to grow, for us both to be the versions of ourselves that we truly want to be and that we got hints of throughout our connection, because there were so many times that there was just so much peace and harmony and love that was experienced. We would have these arguments. It was the triggers that would come up between us, but underneath the surface there was always forgiveness, there was always love, and I would always feel that. I remember a time so distinctly. We were standing in the upstairs hall of his house and having a heated discussion. You could call it an argument, but it was just like there was a trigger there. And I remember just when the energy of that faded, there was just an undercurrent of forgiveness and unconditional love and peace and harmony. And I'd never experienced that before. Once all that passion, once all that heated exchange faded, it was like we came to an energetic understanding without even words. There was just this undercurrent of forgiveness that was just a natural occurrence. So I say all that to give an example of give space for the connection. Give space for you to be different. Give space for your counterpart to be different. Give space for the connection to be different. And keep letting it unfold without expectations, because that's the joy of the journey. That's the joy of connection. Without expectations, keep letting your life unfold in beautiful, surprising ways. Trust in yourself. Trust in your counterpart. Trust in the universe and God's source enough that you allow yourself to be deeply, deeply present throughout all of it. Throughout all exchanges, all communication, all experiences. Let yourself be deeply, deeply present, because in the present moment is where you create. Not when you're future thinking and in fear or expectation of outcome. Not when you're locked into the past and the past is haunting you and revisiting you. It is in the present that you are creating. Who are you being now? So I feel like for those of you who are in communication, this is that second chance kind of rebirth energy that's coming through. How is the Divine Masculine continuing to connect with the feminine? The Page of Wands, yeah, newness. And I feel like there's a learning that's happening here. This could be learning about each other again, learning about oneself. This could even be learning and deepening one's spiritual studies for the masculine. Also getting this because wands can be like awakening energy. So a deeper level of awakening. Remember, you go through many levels and layers of awakening. It's not just one. And ascension is the deepest yet. And ascension is awakening within oneself, not awakening to the truth of the world. That's kind of like a surface level awakening. Ascension is a whole new ball game where you are awakening deeper and deeper and deeper into that inner spiral of the truth of yourself. So I feel like this Page of Wands is this awakening energy, this spiritual energy. It's also a very active energy. So I feel like there's this embodiment energy coming through, not just words, but actions. So words and actions aligning, thoughts and actions aligning. This is coming into their inner embodiment. So it's not just about what are you going to say to yourself, to others, to your counterpart. It's what is the action to back that up. That's a true alignment. So I feel like that's what's happening here with the Page of Wands as well. Let's get one more card for the masculine, please. How are they connecting with the feminine? And this is also the feminine within themselves. Remember, that's their inner union. So take that as the last message as well. The Empress. Yeah, you are the Empress. You are the embodied divine feminine. And I feel like, again, if this is their inner feminine that they're connecting with, then this is recognizing their power. Again, not ego power, but their power to birth their reality, their power to create, not through control, not through manipulation or coercion, or through force, or through oppositional defiance. This is creation from anchoring so deeply into themselves that their energy is magnetic. Divine Feminine, this could be a message for you too, for your feminine. This is anchoring so deeply into yourself that the universe, your world, your physical reality has no choice but to respond to the energy that you're emitting. It's just how it works. It does not happen from the outside in. It happens from the inside out, and that comes from connecting deeply to yourself, connecting deeply to your light, your divinity. And again, divinity is not superiority. It's not spiritual ego. Divinity is anchoring to your truth, connecting to oneself, connecting to God's source, and recognizing the oneness within yourself and within all. The same divine spark is a word that I keep getting, divine spark. The same divine spark that is within you is within all, is within all living consciousness, because it is all God's source. So as it relates to you, divine feminine, you are the divine feminine, and they're beginning to see that. They're beginning to understand that. They're beginning to recognize the difference between a divine feminine energy and the distortion or the wounded or the unhealed, whatever phrase you want to say. That does not mean that other feminine energies don't have worth. They will always have worth. I always say, don't look, if you're talking about karmic relationships. Now, karmic energies can be anything. Any third party energy can be anything, not necessarily a relationship. It can be a circumstance, a financial upheaval, financial scarcity or lack. It could be like a job loss. It could be a job itself. A third party can be a job. For example, if there is an addiction to work or something like that, or there's, what do you call it? Like where you're working all the time. That could be a third party energy because it's kind of interfering and or sabotaging with, your connection to yourself, your connection to God, your heart. It could be an addiction. It could be a relationship. So third party does not have to be another romantic relationship. It could be anything because we have relationships with everything. So I feel like if this is a karmic or third party relationship, for example, don't look at that relationship or even the addiction or even the financial insecurity or even the job or whatever this is. Don't look at it as the enemy. If you're looking at something as the enemy, you're creating that resentment and that you're continuing to house that within your own body. Look at it through the lens of love. Look at it through that divine source light. Or if it is too toxic, disengage from it. Give yourself space from it. So I feel like even karmic energies have something to teach us. And that's why they are karmic, because they are meant to teach us something. They're meant to show us and reflect something back to ourselves. And once we learn that, once we truly see that and break those cycles, then that karmic energy fades. It just is what it is. Like it just does. It just fades. That is the law of the universe. Karma is simply cause and effect. It is a neutral energy. It is the energy with which we implant and imprint our beliefs onto it. So if you are looking at it, this is especially a message for the divine feminines. If you are looking at your counterpart's third-party relationship, for example, or this could be an addiction, this could be a relationship, whatever it is. If you're looking at it through that lens of, oh, this person is the enemy, they're so toxic, etc., begin to shift your view. What are they teaching your counterpart? What are they teaching you? What are they reflecting back to you about yourself, about your own judgment, about your own sense of security, your own sense of worth? What are they reflecting to you? You heal that within yourself, and the karmic energy either heals or it fades away. So I feel like that's the message for both of you. But there is a difference between, for example, a karmic energy and the Empress energy. And again, I go through this in my book, The Unity Code, available everywhere books are sold. Okay, let's see how the divine feminine is relating to or connecting to the masculine. How is the divine feminine relating to or connecting to the masculine? We have the King of Swords and we have the Devil card. I really like this energy, and I'm going to tell you why. The King of Swords with the Devil card feels like breaking free. So this feels like any attachment, any enmeshment, any codependency, and especially where you are chasing. And that chasing energy, that's what the Devil energy feels like. It feels like seeking outside of oneself rather than connecting within. Breaking free from that. I love the King of Swords here because the King of Swords gets right to the quick of things, gets right to the truth of things, cuts through the bullshit. King of Swords is a leader. King of Swords is somebody who is King Arthur energy, stands up and speaks one's truth. It's a lot of communication energy. So this feels like breaking free. This feels like liberation. You also have that hawk there. You have him in a powerful stance of not defense, but it's how do I say this? It's not defense. It's almost like power, which is the opposite of defense, right? You're in your power. You're like, come and get me. Come and get me. I know my truth. Come and get me. I know what I stand for. That kind of energy. I'm not afraid. That's what this energy feels like with the devil. It's like, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of anything that I once perceived as fearful. I'm not afraid of anything that I once portrayed as or believed was, toxic, or that I once believed was going to, pull me from myself. I'm not afraid of expressing myself. Where I once was chasing or seeking outside of myself, I know that everything is within. I'm not afraid. So this feels like a liberation, and this feels like where you are truly honing your independence, magnetism. You're truly honing your sense of self. It's beautiful energy. And what I'm getting here with the devil card too is these energetic cords. You can break free from them at any time. You're not truly tethered. And that's where the blind spot was, where you were keeping yourself, especially if you were in this chasing energy, this seeking energy, if you were looking at the evidence and being in this victimhood of, oh, I'll never come into union because X, Y, and Z. Well, your union is always within, and that's where you were keeping yourself blindfolded. You were seeing it through one lens, through the lens of scarcity, through the lens of lack, through the lens of seeking, through the lens of the outside world. Your union is an inner job, so this is where you're breaking free. This is where you're owning your truth. This is that King of Swords energy. Again, it's a fabulous energy. It's like, I'm owning my truth. I'm owning my sacredness. I'm owning my power. I'm owning my light. I'm owning my expression, how I express myself. I'm owning it. Like it or not. Like it or not. I'm not going to, it doesn't matter if you like me or not anymore, because I love myself so deeply. I connect with myself so deeply. I'm not attached so deeply anymore. I'm not, there's difference between connection and an attachment. And there was a Buddhist monk, and I have this on one of my playlists. I talk about this a lot. Who said, love lightly. Love is a bird perching in the hand. It's not the closed hand. It's not the closed fist that creates resistance, that creates entrapment. That is a lower density energy. Love is, I'm here. Love is, I love you. Love is freedom. Love is the bird perching lightly on the hand. There's that saying that goes, set someone free, and if it's truly love, they'll come back to you. Well, that's this energy. If it's truly love, it's not something that you seek or try to contain. It just is. It's just unconditional love. That's what unconditional love is. And what I'm actually getting is that's God's love, because God has granted us free will, free choice to make those decisions for ourselves, to make choices for ourselves. And yes, we're going to make mistakes. Yes, we're going to misstep, because we are not perfect. We are human, but God loves us anyway. And with every mistake, we learn and we redirect. With every misstep, we choose something different. That is the beauty of our evolution, is we learn from our mistakes. We learn from those missteps. We grow, we evolve. That's the definition of evolution. That is God's love. God loved us so much that he enabled us to have that free will, to make those mistakes, to not be beholden to one thing or another, to continue to evolve. And that's the way that we love. That's the way that we love. So, Divine Feminine, how else are you connecting with your Divine Masculine? How are you connecting with your Divine Masculine? Death. The Death card is that transformation, allowing yourselves the connection to transform. Not attaching it to the past and what it was, but allowing your connection to grow, allowing your connection to evolve, because you've evolved. And so naturally, your counterpart is going to evolve too. In the bottom of the deck, you also have the Sun, the happiest card in the deck. It is light, it is illumination, it is growth, it is evolution, it is the spark. So recognizing the spark, metaphorically, of your connection, because you're recognizing that within yourself. You're recognizing that within each other. And so you are allowing that to unfold, allowing your journey to unfold. I've said time and time again, it's like you're going back to the beginning and getting to know each other again. But now you have that higher sense of awareness of the journey, higher sense of awareness of each other and yourself. And so it's not going to be the triggers of the past. Yeah, you might get triggered. Yeah, you might have challenges, but you're going to work through it much more consciously because you're much more conscious of the journey of yourself and of each other. You know what this connection is now. That was part of the confusion in the past. All this mystical stuff was happening, all this phenomena, all this connection, this deep-seated connection. It was like you ran from yourself because you saw yourself reflected. And now you've worked through the shadows and you're able to see the light in yourselves and each other and hold that in sustained union. And if you want support with this, I have a workshop called Return to Union that goes through how to hold this energy, how to hold the space, how to see each other in that different light, and how to sustain that union now as you come back into reconciliation and reunion with each other. All right, let's get one of these cards that we haven't used in a while. What do you want each other to know? What is it that you want each other to know? What does the masculine want the feminine to know? What does the masculine want the feminine to know? Two pieces of the whole is immediately what I'm getting. So we have the heartbreak card. So they might have moved through a lot of heartbreak around you, around the connection, around themselves, around their life, a lot of deep reflection. And I feel like that's coming through here as well. They might have been influenced by others. They might have been influenced by, again, third party relationships, karmic relationships, other people in their life. This is about connecting to themselves, beginning to trust themselves, beginning to trust their inner wisdom, and not inner wisdom that is egoically attached, but true wisdom. This is connecting to the heart, and that's where the heart heals. When you connect to the heart, where you listen to the heart, not the ego, not the logic, but when you truly connect to the heart. And the heart, when you listen to your intuition, when you listen to your heart, it can feel very illogical. This connection is very illogical. It does not make sense. It doesn't make sense on paper. It doesn't make sense if you talk about with somebody who is not experiencing this journey. Divine Feminines, we've all experienced that too. It does not make logical sense. But it does to the soul, it does to the heart. And so when you listen to the heart, that is when you heal. And so two parts of the whole, what I'm actually seeing is another piece of the heart coming together. This is the healing. So where there was a fracture within this relationship, within this connection, where there was a fracture within oneself, that's where the healing happens. The healing of the broken heart, the healing of the heartbreak that you might have experienced with each other, within yourself, or within this connection. Healing is possible here. That's what they want you to know, that healing is possible and that there's healing that is happening with every conversation, with every energy exchange, with every dream state. You might be experiencing healing within dream state. For example, I had a lot of healing dreams that happened before connecting with my masculine again many months ago, back in the spring. For about a year, there was a lot of healing dreams that I was having. So you'll experience very vivid healing dreams. So, where there's heartbreak, there's also opportunity for healing. And that's when you open yourselves up and trust each other, because you recognize each other. You recognize the truth of this connection, not from the ego lens, not from the logical lens, but from the heart. And that's what you have to tune into. How does the energy feel? When you tune into the heart, what is true? What does the feminine want the masculine to know? What does the feminine want the masculine to know? Maturity, growth, evolution. This is also giving me that healing heart. You see how there's like half a heart missing here? There's that jaggedy edge of heartbreak. Here you have like the absence of petals. Here it's like he loves me not kind of energy, right? I'm also getting drawn to, it's a 6 number. 6 is that nostalgia card. 6 of Cups is that reunion card, nostalgia, reconnection. So here you have the lack, the scarcity, the heartbreak, but there's also opportunity for new blooms. There's also opportunity for growth. There's also opportunity for healing. There's also opportunity for your connection to evolve. So continue in the guidance that you've been given. Continue to trust in your heart, in your own intuition. Continue to look not at the physical world as a decider of what's going on, but what you feel is true within you. Keep creating within yourself. Keep tuning into the union, into the energy within yourself. Everything we've talked about in our past Sacred Union energy updates, everything we talk about in our workshops in the Higher Heart Academy, keep connecting within, because that is where your evolution, your growth, and your union resides. And the more that you connect within, the more you will see that in your physical 3D life, in your physical world. And what do we need to know finally for the union energies? What is it that we need to know for the union energies, please, Spirit? What is it that we need to know for the union? What is it that we need to know for the union? For the energies between the two. Final message. Soul connection. This is a deep-seated soul connection. I see you. You see me. I am you. You are me. Not in personality, but in soul, in heart, in love. All right, everyone. I am sending you commitment and balance, the yin-yang, and true love. I am sending you all so much love, so much light. Have a happy, happy 11/11 portal. Let me know in the comments how this is resonating with you, and we'll be back over the next couple of weeks sporadically with a romance reading and perhaps another energy check-in. Sending lots and lots of love.